want to know they still have control over your emotions. They want to see you fall apart so they can sleep peacefully knowing you haven't moved on. But what if you don't give them that satisfaction? Imagine this. A woman sits alone in her car at midnight, tears in her eyes, phone in her hand. She's just discovered the man she gave everything to was lying to her. Her first instinct? Blow up his phone, text him paragraphs, tell the world what he did. But then something shifts. She puts the phone down, wipes her tears, turns the ignition, drives herself to the gym. At 1 a.m., she's lifting weights with fire in her eyes. That's not just healing. That's reinvention. That's the kind of power that doesn't just move on. It transforms. Because let's face it, the world doesn't care about the girl who broke down, but it can't stop watching the girl who rebuilt herself. You want to inspire? Don't collapse, evolve. You know how the phoenix rises from ashes? It doesn't rise with pity. It rises with purpose. When someone tricks you, don't prove them wrong with arguments. Prove them wrong with achievement. You want him to regret it? Then make him invisible in your life. Make yourself so elevated that he doesn't even qualify for the memory. Take the example of a woman who loses her job unfairly because someone at work sabotaged her. Most people would cry, blame, vent on social media. But instead, she goes quiet, takes a month off, learns new skills, builds a small brand online. 6 months later, she's making more money than her boss ever paid her. And the same company that fired her is now trying to collaborate with her. That's not revenge. That's reinvention. And it speaks louder than any rant ever could. Every time life slaps you with betrayal, heartbreak, or humiliation, you get to choose. Do you want to scream or do you want to rise? There's a woman who got cheated on by the man she thought she'd marry. Instead of sinking, she traveled alone for the first time. She started hiking, reading, meditating. She found herself in sunsets and silence. And when she came back, she was unrecognizable. Not because she changed her face, but because she changed her energy. She didn't beg him to return. She didn't wait for closure. She created her own. Because when you stop reacting, you start creating. And that creation, that's what becomes your superpower. That's how queens are made. Not by the applause of others, but by the strength they build in silence. Control the narrative. Because if you don't, someone else will. And trust me, they will twist it in the way that makes them look strong and makes you look weak. When someone plays you, when someone walks away, when someone breaks your heart and leaves without explanation, they're not just leaving, they're building a story. A story where they were the victim, where you were too much, too emotional, too demanding. And if you're not careful, that lie becomes your identity. But here's the truth. Your story doesn't end because someone miswrote a chapter. You don't need to run around trying to explain yourself. You don't need to defend your name in every room you've never stepped into. What you need to do is own your version and live it so boldly that no one else's version matters. You've probably seen women go through breakups and come back with a new body, new business, new mindset. That's no accident. That's what happens when pain stops being a prison and becomes fuel. You don't have to broadcast your pain to the world. You just have to let it sharpen you. Use every tear, every disappointment, every betrayal as bricks. Build a new version of you. So powerful, even your past can't recognize you. No text, no closure, no apology will ever compare to the glow up that comes from reinvention. Because one day, the same people who thought they destroyed you will whisper your name like a legend. And it won't be because you screamed. It'll be because you were silent and you became unstoppable. Imagine this. A girl goes through a nasty breakup. Within days, he's already out there spinning tales. She was insecure. She never trusted me. She was crazy. And people start whispering. They start judging. Her name becomes a topic of gossip. Now she has two choices. She can chase after every lie trying to correct it, or she can stand tall, level up in silence, and let her transformation do the talking. 3 months later, she's got a new job, a new glow, and a peace so loud that the rumors sound like a joke. And guess what? The same people who laughed now want to know how she did it. Because when you control the narrative, you stop being the victim of the story and start being the author. There's this powerful example of a woman who got body shamed for years. People told her she was too fat to wear that dress, too big to be on stage, not attractive enough to model. She didn't fight back with insults. She didn't beg for acceptance. Instead, she built her brand. She started walking runways others said she didn't belong on. She made them uncomfortable with how confidently she wore her truth. The narrative, it flipped. She wasn't the girl who didn't fit in. She became the girl who changed the definition of fitting in. Controlling the narrative isn't about lying. It's about refusing to let lies define you. It's about speaking through action, not desperation. There's a woman I know who got divorced. Her husband cheated and left her with nothing but shame. Everyone around her said, "Poor thing. She must not have been a good wife. Maybe she pushed him away." They made her the reason for her own heartbreak. But she didn't try to correct them. She didn't argue. She went quiet and started rebuilding her. Makes them question everything they said about you. Exposing him might get you a few likes, a few people clapping in your DMs, maybe even some petty satisfaction. But it won't change the fact that you gave your heart to the wrong man. And dragging him publicly, that doesn't make you powerful. It makes you distracted. While you're out there trying to ruin his image, he's already rewriting the story. But you have something bigger to do. You have to shift the spotlight. Not on him, on you. Picture this. A woman gets cheated on. Her heart is shattered. Her first instinct is to gather the receipts, post the screenshots, expose his lies. She wants the world to see what he did. But before she presses post, she stops. She thinks, is this how I want to be remembered? Is this what I want to pour my energy into? Instead of hitting send, she books a class, starts working on her fitness, starts journaling. She channels every ounce of that betrayal into her next version. 6 months later, she's standing on stage, giving a talk about emotional resilience. And the same people who would have gossiped about the screenshots, now they're quoting her words. Because when you stop exposing the man and start exposing your potential, you don't just rise, you inspire. There was a girl who dated a guy who made her feel like she was never enough. He constantly made her compete for his attention. He flirted with others in front of her. He made her question her worth. She unfollowed him, not to trigger him, but to free herself. She got into therapy, started dressing like the woman she used to hide, started walking into rooms like she owned them. And one day she ran into him again, and he didn't recognize her. Because she wasn't the same girl begging for crumbs. She was the woman commanding a table. You see, exposing him might bring him shame. But exposing yourself to greatness, that brings you freedom. There's a power in restraint, a silence that screams, a grace that makes people regret hurting you without you ever having to say a word. You don't need to post about the betrayal. You don't need to call him out in stories. Let Karma write his biography. You write your legacy. A woman once got publicly humiliated by a man who claimed she was too ambitious, that she didn't make time for love, that she was cold. She could have gone online and told the world what he really was: insecure, manipulative, threatened by her light. But she didn't. Instead, she built a mentorship program for young girls. She started traveling the world giving speeches. One day, a viral clip of her landed on the feed of the same man who said she was too much. But this time, the world wasn't mocking her. The world was listening. You want revenge? Let him hear about you through success stories. Let your achievements interrupt his comfort. Let your growth haunt him in silence. While he's busy being the past, you're becoming someone that even your past self would bow to. And let's not forget, every second you spend trying to ruin him is a second stolen from your empire. Shift that energy. Use it to get stronger, to glow harder, to rise higher. You don't need to tell the world he was the wrong one. Just become so extraordinary that the world says, how could he ever lose her? So don't waste time gathering proof. Gather purpose. Don't dig into his darkness. Dig into your light. Don't fight to be heard. Work to become undeniable. Because when you expose yourself to greatness, the universe does the rest. Heal loud, but love yourself louder. Because pain deserves a voice, but your worth deserves a microphone. Too many women are told to suffer in silence, to hide their heartbreak, to bury their scars, to smile when they're breaking inside. No more. Healing doesn't have to be quiet. You are allowed to cry. You are allowed to scream. You are allowed to bleed where it hurts. But in all that noise, let the loudest thing the world hears be how deeply you decided to love yourself anyway. There's this woman who was left the night before her engagement. Just like that. A message, no explanation. She collapsed. Her world cracked open. And everyone told her, be strong. Don't show him he broke you. But she said, why should I pretend I'm fine when I'm not? She cried openly. She deleted nothing. She talked about it. She journaled. She prayed. She went to therapy. She let herself break. But even louder than her tears was her choice to get back up. She didn't stop at healing. She chose to love herself like she had never been hurt. She started dating herself, took herself on trips, bought herself flowers, and every time she looked in the mirror, she said, you didn't lose him, he lost you. Because healing loud isn't about being weak, it's about being human. And loving yourself louder is about becoming unshakable. Another girl I know got rejected brutally by the guy she thought was the one. He told her she was too clingy, too intense, too much. She believed him. For weeks, she drowned in self-blame. But then one day, she asked herself, since when did loving deeply become a flaw? And that question flipped everything. She began to heal with volume. She started a blog. She wrote her story. Thousands of women read it and said, me too. Her pain had become her power. But the best part, she didn't just heal out loud. She loved herself louder. She wore what she wanted. She danced when people stared. She stopped asking if she was too much and started saying, maybe you were just too little. You don't need to whisper through your pain. You don't need to smile to make others comfortable. Cry if you must, but never stop pouring love into the woman who survived that heartbreak. She stopped asking if she was too much and started smiling love into the woman who survived that heartbreak. Never scared anymore. She didn't want to cry anymore. She stopped asking if she was too much and started standing up to people who dumped her down on me. To be my shepherd, you don't need to, because for every tear that falls, there is strength rising behind it. Think about the woman who goes through divorce after years of emotional abuse. She finally leaves, but she's left hollow. Society expects her to wear dignity like armor, to move on quickly, quietly. But she refuses. She tells her story. She starts a podcast. She becomes a voice for those who never had one. Her healing is raw, visible, but every episode ends with one message. I am not what he did to me. I am what I chose to become after. That's loving yourself louder. That's taking the wound and turning it into a weapon of truth. You're not dramatic. You're not broken. You're awake. You've seen how betrayal feels. You've felt the silence of abandonment. And you've risen anyway. That is love in its most powerful form. The kind you give to yourself when no one else remembered how to. So let them call you loud. Let them say you're doing too much. You are. You're doing too much healing for a world that wants you to stay broken. You're doing too much self-love for a society that profits from your insecurity. And that's exactly why you must keep doing it. Heal on your terms. And when they try to quiet your pain, turn the volume all the way up. Not to show them your scars, but to show them the masterpiece you built from them. Level up, not close down. Because heartbreak is not the end of you, it's the ignition. You weren't meant to shrink after the pain. You were meant to expand. Most people, after being betrayed, shut the world out. They close their hearts, stop trusting, stop dreaming, stop growing. But pain didn't come to cage you. It came to challenge you. To see if you're going to sit in the ashes or rise like the wildfire you were always meant to be. There's a woman I know who got ghosted after a 5-year relationship. No closure, no reason. Just silence. For days she stayed in bed, spiraling in shame, asking herself what she did wrong. Everyone told her, you need time. Don't do anything right now. But she felt something inside her snap. Not from weakness, but from awakening. Instead of closing off, she signed up for a public speaking course. She started showing up for herself, the way no one else had. She turned the volume up on her voice, her ambition, her dreams. A few months later, she was on stage giving a TEDx talk titled, "Thank You for Leaving Me." Because she didn't shut down, she leveled up. You don't heal by hiding. You heal by hustling through the hurt. not to avoid the pain, but to transform it. Another girl I met got cheated on by the man she thought she would marry. She almost deleted her social media, left town, disconnected from the world. But something in her paused and whispered, "You can rebuild you. You can become the woman he never had the vision to see." So she turned the pain into a project. She created a YouTube channel, documenting her glow-up journey, from fitness to style to mindset. She put every broken piece of her heart into building a new version of herself. And the world didn't just watch. It followed, it listened, it healed with her. She didn't need revenge. Her reinvention was the revenge. Because when you level up, you stop making your pain about him. You make it about you. There was a woman who lost her job and her man in the same month. She felt worthless, like everything she had worked for was falling apart. And she almost gave up. But instead of closing down, she got strategic. She looked at her life and said, "If I'm going to be alone right now, then let me become so powerful that no one ever gets the chance to walk away again without regretting it." She took courses. She built a brand. She walked into interviews like she had nothing to prove but everything to become. 2 years later, she's a CEO. And that man, still stuck in the same place, still searching for a woman he already lost. Because leveling up isn't a performance. It's a promise to yourself. A silent vow that says, "I will never let someone's inability to see my worth make me question it again." Don't let pain make you small. Let it make you so big, so bold, so unapologetically powerful that the version of you they hurt doesn't even exist anymore. You don't have to shut down to protect yourself. You have to rise to prove yourself. Not to them, but to the girl inside you who almost gave up. The world will tell you to slow down, to isolate, to recover quietly. But you don't owe the world silence. You owe yourself a comeback so loud it drowns out every doubt that ever tried to break you. Every scar you carry, build a skill with it. Every tear you've cried, use it as fuel. Don't become colder, become clearer. Don't build walls, build empires. Level up, because the woman you're becoming will make the girl who cried proud she never gave in. The one thing you must do, choose you, not when it's convenient, not when everyone else approves, but especially when it's hard, when it's lonely, when it feels like the whole world expects you to put yourself last. Because every time you choose someone who wouldn't even cross the street for you, over the woman staring back in the mirror, you abandon your own soul. And that's a betrayal deeper than any heartbreak. There's a girl I met who kept giving everything to a man who gave her nothing consistent. He loved her when it was easy, praised her when she stayed silent, left her the moment she had standards. And every time, she chose him again. Until one morning, sitting on her bathroom floor, tears on her cheeks and mascara on her hands, she whispered to herself, "Why do I keep choosing the storm over my own shelter?" That day, she made a new vow, not to hate him, but to love herself harder than he ever could. She didn't block him. She didn't beg him. She simply chose herself and walked away. That's the day her healing started. Not because he stopped breaking her, but because she stopped letting him. Choosing you isn't selfish. It's survival. It's self-respect. It's soul protection. Another woman I know kept sacrificing her dreams for her relationship. She wanted to study abroad, start a business, see the world, but he kept saying, "You don't need all that. Just stay with me." So she did. For years. Until one day she woke up in a life she didn't recognize. Not because it was bad, but because it wasn't hers. She had built everything around someone else's comfort and completely ignored her own calling. That's when she finally said, "This time, I'm not asking for permission to be me." She packed her bags, moved to another country, and started fresh. At 34. Everyone thought she lost everything. But she didn't. She finally found herself. Choosing you means taking the uncomfortable road. The one where you eat alone, heal alone, grow alone. But that path leads somewhere powerful, to a version of you who doesn't need to shrink just to be loved. There's another story. A girl who got engaged to a man her family adored. On paper, he was perfect. But in her heart, she felt caged. She wasn't allowed to wear what she wanted, speak freely, chase her passions. Every day she died a little more inside. But she kept saying yes, until one day, standing in front of the mirror in her bridal dress, she asked, "If I say I do to him, will I ever say yes to myself again?" She took the dress off. She called off the wedding. Not because she didn't love him, but because she finally realized, I love me more. That's the real revolution. When you stop begging others to choose you and start choosing yourself without apology. Choosing you looks like setting boundaries and actually keeping them. It looks like walking away when your soul feels starved. It looks like clapping for yourself when no one else does. It looks like saying no to what looks good so you can say yes to what feels right. And no, it won't always be glamorous. Sometimes it's lonely, sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it means leaving behind people, places, and parts of yourself you thought you needed. But what you gain in return is peace, clarity, self-trust. You stop asking people to see your worth. You become so rooted in it, you don't need their vision to validate your value. The world will tell you to choose love, choose family, choose duty. But the most radical, beautiful, powerful thing you can ever do is choose you. Not because you're perfect, but because you finally realize you were enough, even when they didn't treat you like it. You were never meant to beg for love. You already deserve. You were never designed to chase someone who was too blind to see your light. And you were absolutely not born to shrink, silence, or suffer just to fit into someone else's broken idea of worth. This isn't just about a heartbreak. This is about a rebirth. The moment he tricked you was the moment the universe chose you. Not to destroy you, but to rebuild you into the woman you were always meant to be. This isn't your ending, this is your emergence. There's a fire inside you, and pain is not here to extinguish it. It's here to fuel it. What if I told you that being betrayed was the greatest blessing you never asked for? Because when someone shows you they never deserved your love, your loyalty, your softness, that's not rejection, that's redirection. You see, God doesn't remove people to hurt you. He removes people who are blocking your destiny. Sometimes the greatest favor the universe does is burn the bridge, so you stop walking back to your own destruction. He left, let him. He lied, let him. He broke you, thank him. Because the girl you're becoming because of that pain, she's stronger, she's smarter, she's unshakable. The woman who walks alone is likely to find herself somewhere no one has ever been before. And trust me, that's not a weakness. That's your superpower. You think silence is empty? No, silence is sacred. You think loneliness is suffering? No. Loneliness is clarity. It's in the silence you hear the voice of the queen within. It's when the world goes quiet that your soul finally speaks. And what it says is this: you are done apologizing for being powerful. Let them call you cold. Let them call you hard. Let them say you changed. Because, darling, you did. You grew. You evolved. You stopped being accessible to chaos. You stopped handing your crown to people who only wanted your throne but not your scars. And that's not arrogance, that's awareness. You know what's sexy? A woman who doesn't flinch when a man walks away. A woman who smiles, lifts her chin, and says thank you. You just made space for someone who knows what to do with a heart like mine. You know what's magnetic? A woman who isn't bitter, just better. A woman who didn't let pain poison her. A woman who alchemized heartbreak into high standards. So to every woman listening, you are not broken. You are being reborn. You are not abandoned. You are being aligned. You are not unloved. You are being redirected to divine love, starting with your own. And to the man who tricked you, don't fight to expose him. His actions already did that. Just rise so fiercely, so gracefully, so unapologetically, that the very thought of losing you becomes his lifelong regret. Remember this: when they underestimate you, don't argue. Just surprise them with silence and success. Because your life is the loudest clapback. You don't need closure. You need clarity. You don't need revenge. You need reinvention. And you don't need to be chosen by anyone who made you feel replaceable, because you've already chosen yourself. Let every tear remind you that your heart is still soft. Let every scar remind you that you survived what was meant to break you. And let every closed door remind you that you weren't locked out. You were being redirected to something divine. You can't heal in the same place that broke you, so don't go back. Build forward. And if there's one promise I want you to make to yourself right now, it's this: from this day forward, I will never again beg for love, prove my worth, or shrink for comfort. I am the storm. I am the standard. I am the story they'll never forget. Because he tricked you, yes, but you transformed. And there's no greater power than a woman who finally chooses herself. He made you believe it was love, but it was a game. He whispered forever and vanished by morning. And now you're sitting there thinking you were the fool. No, queen. You were just loyal to the wrong man. So listen to me. If he tricked you, don't chase him. Don't block him. Just do this one thing and watch him crumble in silence. Ready to flip the script? Let's go. Don't react, reinvent. That's the rule every powerful woman lives by. Because when life breaks you, when someone you trusted plays you, your first instinct is to react, to scream, to cry, to post something dramatic, to send 100 messages trying to understand why. But here's the truth. Your reaction is their reward. They want you shattered. They